Phase 1 of 49ers OTAs started today, and all kinds of news broke. Sort of. How's it going? Welcome to Cohn Zone Live Afternoon Edition. That's my dad, Lowell Cohn. I'm the younger Cohn, Grant, and I just got back from Santa Clara. And you know what? George Kittle, this is the big news of the day. George Kittle did not show up to a voluntary workout that he hasn't showed up to in about 3 years, Dad. Clearly, this means he hates the 49ers and will never play another game wearing the red and gold. What do you make of this, Dad? It's crazy.
Okay, it may mean nothing, right? Because he's not shown up before. He's a very hard worker. He's a good teammate, and he's a great player. All right. So it may mean nothing. We do know that he has 1 year left on his contract, and he would like an extension. And I want to talk about an extension in a minute. So it could be that instead of just the usual not coming, there's also an embedded message which is, I'm not really going to come to voluntary things until we work out an extension for me. But I don't know. But I'll tell you what I don't like about it. First of all, a lot of other players came, and we'll get into some of them in a moment. But this is not a championship team anymore. This is a team that only won 6 games, Iggy. Mm-hmm. Their season was dreadful. I'm not saying the team is dreadful, but their season was dreadful. And it seems to me that a team leader, and he is a team leader, this is the time to show up. Whether you have a contract issue or you just don't feel like coming, and I can't read his mind, but leaders lead. This is a team that needs leaders to lead. And I think he should have got off his tush, got on a plane, and come out and made an appearance, because it might have meant something to other people in the locker room. What do you think?
I completely agree. And I think what makes it more complicated, or makes it look worse for Kittle, even if his heart was in the right place, maybe we don't understand what's going on. This weekend was WrestleMania. I know this. You were gonna watch it. This weekend was WrestleMania in Las Vegas, and he was there, and it was very publicized. And he's big into the WWE, and he was in Vegas this weekend, but he couldn't come to OTAs on Tuesday. It seems like a bad look, and maybe he's everything's hunky dory with the Niners and his agent, but it makes you kind of feel like he's thumbing his nose at not only the front office. Well, I don't know what it feels like. It's just a bad look. It's a bad look.
Iggy, I don't really know. Wrestling is that thing that's not really a sport. It's a
you remember like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage, like they still do that stuff.
And so Kittle is into that as opposed to say like UFC.
He's extremely into professional wrestling. His nickname is Stone Cold Kittle, which is named after Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the big heavyweight champion when I was 11 years old. A lot of people speculate that when he retires, he actually will become a WWE wrestler because he has, the athleticism and the personality for it, the caricature personality for it.
Okay. Anyway, so what your point is, he was in Vegas. It's like about an hour and 10-minute flight to the Bay Area, right? To San Jose, and he could have shown up. Anyway, I think we're in agreement.
There's one more thing too. Every offseason, he does that tight end youth thing. So I liked your point. Leaders lead. He didn't have to be here, but as we're going to mention in a minute, Brock Purdy showed up. Fred Warner showed up. They also have their own contract disputes, but leaders lead.
Oh, yeah. And listen, Iggy, I've talked to a lot of personnel people over my years, okay? And this is what they say. Lowell, it's important during the week, during the season, that the leaders practice. It's important that the leaders practice because it shows the younger players practice matters. I've had people say to me, so-and-so is a great player, but he doesn't practice during the week. That's bad. Okay? So I'm making an analogy. it's not bad that he didn't show up, Kittle, but it's not good.
Right.
It's not good. And you're thinking not only of yourself and WrestleMania, whatever WrestleMania is, but you're thinking, there's a kid down a few lockers from me. It would mean something to him if I come to the meetings and I show my face. Because we're a team. It's not called Kittle, it's called the 49ers. And I don't roast him for not coming, but it would have been better if he came.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, does he want out? Is he upset? If he doesn't get what he wants, will he request a trade? I mean, those are questions that pop in your mind. And then maybe you look at it from the Niners perspective, like he wants an extension. He's got a year left on his contract. He's 32. We're coming off a year where we were 6-11. What are we rewarding? He didn't show up to OTAs. He's a captain. He was at WrestleMania. What is he trying to say to us? I mean, if I were running the 49ers, I'd be maybe offended that Kittle didn't show up.
Iggy, he's a captain?
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa. I never think about that stuff. But I told you, a captain on a football team is so important. Tom Homo, who's a friend of mine now, and he's the athletic director at BYU. At one point years ago, he wrote a master's thesis, and it was on being a captain. He was never a captain, but he called Joe Montana, who was a captain, and they talked a long time, and it meant a lot to Joe. It meant a lot to him that he was a captain, and he conveyed that to Tom Homo. And I believe captains need to act like captains. I'm here. There's a reason I'm here. I'm here for the team. I'm here to establish our standard.
And you don't have to wonder if I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here.
I'm going to be here. Bill Walsh used to tell his Niners, we have the highest standard in football by far. We play to our standard, not to the other team. And that's what Kittle needs to think about. And Iggy, there's another thing I want to say. How old is he going to be this season?
32.
Okay. He is a great player. I have a team. I want him on my team. I'm not sure I want him at 34.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. I would like the 49ers to say, and I looked it up, I believe his base salary in this upcoming season is $14 million. He could say, I'm no longer the highest paid. Iggy, where I live, $14 million is a lot of money. And he's not an impoverished person. When he flew to Vegas, I bet he didn't fly coach. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would like the 49ers to be firm. I would like them to say, let's see you perform, how you do on your $14 million contract. We don't see a need right now to extend you. You do well, we'll extend you, but you're going to be older. I don't want to see them give him a 2 or a 3 year. Give him a 3-year contract to be 35. Who knows who he'll be at 35? And I'll tell you something else. I don't think Bill Walsh would have gone for this. I think he would have noticed that he didn't come to OTAs. I think he wouldn't like that he wants an extension. And I know that he got rid of Charlie Young, Bill, for Russ Francis, one great tight end for another. He didn't wait around. He always said, I don't pay for past performance. I pay for what's going to happen in the future. Past performance is history. So I'm not sure that the 49ers should reward him. I would like to see them say to some of these players, play out. You signed a contract. Kittle signed a contract. No one put a gun to his head. And he's going to make $14 million this year. So you're supposed to say, I signed a contract, but it doesn't count for the last year. Why?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you make me play out the last year, I'll be very angry. I'll be very angry. I'll hold my breath. I won't eat dinner. I'll go to bed hungry. Like, okay.
Yeah. You signed a contract. And it doesn't mean minus a year. A contract is a contract. So, I wish that Parag and Jed, I'm talking to those two because they have a lot of power. I wish that they would be a little firm. Be a little firm. I'm talking about the team having a standard. I think that's part of the standard too. We need to compete. We need to show up. We need to earn our money. We don't need to be gifted money.
Yeah, and like the Niners are in this mini rebuild mode where they just won 6 games. Why would they be giving out extensions to older players? They might need to blow it all up. They're halfway there. I mean, Kittle deserves the money, but it doesn't mean the Niners should be the team that pays him.
I'm with you. I'm
And
with
one more
you.
thing. I can't speak for Bill Walsh. I never met him. And he's passed away. But he was the guy who would trade a guy a year or two early. And it seems like if his options were pay George Kittle, make George Kittle play out his contract, or trade him, he just might trade him.
Oh, Bill, here's the thing about Bill. He came across really sweet, and there was a sweetness to him. But Iggy, he was ruthless in ways that you and I could never imagine. He, at the core, when he had to be, was absolutely cold. Cold. And if he felt it was not in his interest to keep Kittle, he wouldn't lose a minute's sleep over it. He'd do what he had to do because his allegiance was to the team.
I get the sense that Eddie DeBartolo and Carmen Policy and John McVay were ruthless as well.
Oh, again, you know Carmen, and you know how charming. I really like Carmen, and I consider him a friend. I would never want to cross him. Would you?
No, the reason I made that distinction is I feel like there's a lack of ruthlessness in the Niners, in the York organization. And maybe they're extremely ruthless, but it seems like they want the players to like them. They want to be a team-friendly organization. They lose contract negotiations every year. Players understand all you got to do is wait them out.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about the positives from today. Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, Trent Williams all showed up. Fred Warner spoke to the media. Brock and Trent did not, but we take John Lynch at his word that they're there. What does it mean to you that these 3 showed up?
Just the opposite of Kittle. I want to praise them for showing up. I don't think any of them had anything to gain by showing up. Let's start with Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He's old. He's been hurt. Iggy, I'm not sure he's a great player anymore. Okay. But he showed up. Mm-hmm. And the message to me is, I'm one of you guys. I'm an older.
I mean, he hasn't played since October. He hasn't posted anything on social media. He could be over there pondering the deepest questions in life, but he showed up.
I'm a 49er. Mm-hmm. I'm a 49er. I'm a Hall of Famer. I need to be here today.
But I'm not bigger than the team.
No, I'm part of the team. Yeah. And so I want to start with him and say, if I were a second-year player or a fringe player and I saw him today, I would think, wow, it meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
Well, it should mean a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go on, and I would go on. Purdy, we know he wants an extension. We can come to that in a minute. No matter what his contract status is, he's the quarterback.
Yeah.
He can't be sitting wherever he lives and saying, this is not good. I'm not happy. I have to show them I'm unhappy so I can force their hand. He's a good guy. And he said, contracts aside, I'm a leader here, and I want to be more of a leader. More of a leader. I'm the quarterback. I better get over there. And Fred Warner, you called him, he's not the quarterback, but he's the quarterback of the defense. Iggy, I feel he's the conscience of the team.
I love that. I agree.
I do. I think he is.
He's the most down-to-earth superstar.
Down to earth, but also, this is who we are.
Upstanding.
And I have to be there. When it comes to it, there's no bullshit.
There's a firm sense of right and wrong.
Yeah. And no matter what's going on with the team, no matter what's going on with Kittle, no matter what's going on in my private life, I have to be there. I am the most important player on the defense. I may be the most important player on the team. I have to show how important this is to me to be a 49er and to stand up show up for the 49ers. I have to show up. Iggy, I think there is a virtue in showing up.
I think so too. And I think especially when George Kittle doesn't, and it's unclear why he's not showing up, and maybe you have some suspicions as to why. I mean, he's arguably the best player on the team. He's certainly one of the best players in the team, and him not showing up is like, Jimmy Butler not showing up to the Warriors or something. It really holds the team hostage. And if another player were to do the same thing, you start to wonder about like, this is going to be a absolute repeat of last year. But these three show up. And not only that, Christian McCaffrey showed up. And it doesn't mean he'll stay healthy the whole season, but it makes you feel like most of the team is taking the offseason, the gritty process of training for the season seriously.
Absolutely seriously. And it makes it seem like Kittle is being offhanded.
Yeah.
Trivializing it. Yeah. It does. I'm sorry. I think McCaffrey, he's had such a tough last season. I mean, it was a disaster for him. He shows up and he stands and he talks. I saw for like more than 6 minutes he talks.
Yeah.
And he knows what the questions are going to be. They're all going to be about his health. You don't want to, I mean, if you're a ball player, you don't want to talk about your health. You want to talk about how great you are. So even the questions from his point of view, I imagine, are difficult, a downer.
Annoying, frustrating.
Yeah, this is where I'm at. Not that the media are bad people, but if I were in the media, I'd probably ask that too. And it's not really where he wants to be, but he faced it. He showed up and he faced it. I give him very, very hard marks.
Because he has a responsibility, not because he freaking wanted to, not because he enjoyed it.
Right, because he had a responsibility.
I will say one more thing. Kittle created a leadership void by not being there today, and a bunch of people stepped up to fill it.
I love it. Now, again, I know you like Kittle. This is not a personal attack. This is a comment on an action on his part, and it's public knowledge, and it's fair to comment on it. But you like him, and you think he's a good guy, right?
Absolutely. And it's business. I mean, if he feels that he's, this is the best thing for him, that maybe he's not all about the 40. Maybe he's part of him is open to playing on another team in the future. I mean, who knows? Teams cut players all the time. That's his business. But it does seem like he's definitely playing hardball in ways other players aren't on this team.
It may be that. I don't know what his motives are. I have trouble. I've never met him, and I haven't talked to him. So I can't speak to his motives. I can speak to his actions.
It just feels out of place, I guess, when the teams had an extra long. I can understand in the past that they kept playing in the NFC Championship game. They have these really abbreviated off seasons, and it's like, man, OTAs are back already. I'm exhausted. Man, you've been off since early January. Trent Williams is here. I mean, he's old. Sorry. So it just feels like everyone's trying their best to make a statement that this offseason matters, and they're not going to have a repeat of last year except for George, who may feel that way but couldn't at least follow through with the gesture.
There's an expression, you're one of us. And by guys showing up today, they showed their teammates, I'm one of us. You're one of us. Well, Kittle didn't do that. He wasn't one of us.
Yeah.
Purdy was.
And it was a big moment of truth. I mean, Purdy could have done that. Purdy has a lot more money at stake than George.
That's for sure. He has a
lot.
George,
you said it. George's going to make $14 million this year. Purdy won't. Purdy will make $5 million if they play hardball with him.
Yeah.
And doesn't have a bunch of money that he's already made. So as we all know. Anyway, take a couple super chats and we'll get back to the show. Frank Tom Ocean, been a member for 25 months. Thank you for the support. Alan H says, so CMC was physically restrained last year then? I don't understand.
We're going to get back to that because he said today, I have no restrictions. That's one of our topics.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Niner Cali Boy says, Tyler Warren with the 11th for leverage. Thoughts? I don't think they'll spend a first-round pick on a tight end. But if they want leverage, they could draft one in rounds 3 or 4. But I don't know how much leverage they're going to get. I think it's time to just trade our top 4 or 5 guys, says Wilson03. Start over. Fish and Chips been a member for 19 months. Thank you, Fish and Chips. Okay. Other thing, takeaway from today, John Lynch was asked about the progress of negotiations with Brock, and he's always so casual about it. Oh, yeah. Has some good communication. Really like the way things are going. But it doesn't seem like he's nervous or stressed or in any type of a hurry to get it done. How do you interpret the state of this negotiation and Lynch's attitude?
Okay. Again, I'm not there, and I haven't talked to Lynch in about 30 years. I agree. He doesn't seem at all anxious. I think there's probably a vigorous and maybe a contentious negotiation going on between the Niners and Purdy and his agent. I would be surprised if they get anything done soon. I would. I would be surprised. I think there is the fact that he came today, Purdy, does not mean they're close to an agreement.
No.
I don't make any connection. I just think it means he's a good guy and he came. That's as far as I'm willing to go. My hope with the Niners is that they really don't give him any. Now, again, it's their money. They can do whatever they want to do. It's not my money. But I think if you pay him in the 50 millions, what I don't like about it is it takes money away from other places. And he, more than a lot of other quarterbacks, needs good players around him that you got to pay.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who's going to win a game by himself. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen.
We saw that last year. We saw that last year. Every time he was in a position to like win a game by himself close at the end, he didn't.
Right. So he's a very good quarterback, but he needs people around him, and you have to pay those people. So $50 million would take away from him as a quarterback. What do I think he's worth? In the 30s. I think I've told you, I think he's average plus. And I think he's worth in the 30s. How this is going to work, I have no idea, Iggy. Let me put it like this. I do think they're going to sign him. I do think he's going to be the quarterback next year and for many years to come, unless he gets really hurt or he bombs out. I'm hoping neither happens. I hope he has a good career. What do you think?
Well, let me ask you this. These negotiations are so unrelatable to regular people. Like, Purdy wants to have a 5, it seems, or his agent wants Purdy to have a 5 in front of the number that is his annual average value. So 50 million plus per season. The Niners don't seem comfortable giving him that 5. So it's a game of chicken. Will he get the 5 or not? Will Purdy ultimately agree to 47 plus million a year, or will the Niners finally cave and give him 51 or 2? What do you think?
I think the Niners will cave and he'll get a 5.
I do too. It's really unfortunate because I feel like other teams would stick to their guns, but the Niners don't.
And in terms, if you could talk about a quarterback's ability based on a salary number, he's not good enough to get a 5. He's not good enough.
Nope.
It's not my money, but I'm talking about it as a grade, not as money. He's not a $50 million quarterback.
No.
And
you know what they'll end up doing? They'll give him the 5 in like 4 months. But then 2 weeks later, when the details of the contract come out, they'll try to say that they won the negotiation that way. Oh, look at the guaranteed contract. Look at the guaranteed money. Oh, we got an out after 3 years. You gave him the 5. You gave him the 5.
Well, they didn't yet give him the 5. It could become very dramatic and very interesting. It's funny. During the season, you're actually talking about games. Football.
Now we're talking about digits. It's like Sesame Street.
Exactly. I mean, what
Today's
the hell
number is 5.
Today's number is 5. Yeah, we're doing Sesame Street. So I'm talking about this stuff. I was an English major. What the hell do I know about economics and things like that?
I want a 5.
I'll give you a 5.
All right, let's make some prize picks. The draft is this weekend, and Prize Picks has a very special promotion. It's a NFL draft prize pick, and it's free. You don't have to have you don't have to put any money down. So let's show them how it works. Some pretty interesting plays here. Let's say, for example, let's see, Mel Kiper. Where you at, Mel Kiper? Mel. Okay. More or less 3.5 times that he says upside in round 1.
Oh, more.
He's going to hammer that word.
He is the upside king.
He's going to say upside. He's going to say quicker than fast. He's going to say big tight end, twitchy first step.
Character guy.
Character guy.
Yeah. Now, may I say something about Mel Kiper? I'm only aware of him during the draft. Does he live under a rock? I mean, is he the only days that he lives, or does he have another daytime job that I don't know about?
Maybe he's a barber.
But
he's got great hair.
And here's the thing. I really don't want to put him down. He's doing his job. People like him. I know what it's like to try to have a job and to keep your salary and to support your family and all that. But I forget about him almost 362 days a year.
Yeah, but when you're not thinking about Mel Kiper, you know what he's doing? Watching the tape. The tape.
Okay.
Taking his job seriously. That's why he's been employed for 40 years.
Okay. Well, God love you, Mel.
Okay. Next one. Goodell booed on stage 10.5 seconds, more or less. Now, they're doing it in Green Bay. There's nice people over there. But some of these people might not be from Green Bay who come to watch the event.
I'd say fewer.
I don't think they have it in them for 11 seconds in the Midwest. I just don't.
No.
If it was Philly, it could be different.
Oh!
What about this one? First rounders crying after getting picked. 3.5.
3.5 first rounders?
Yes. So if there's 3 criers, it's not you lose. But if they're if you pick the less, you're good.
Yeah.
But there's 4.
And okay, Iggy. More.
You're feeling like more. 5. You're gonna get the 5 here.
Yeah. There's your 5.
There it is. Boom. So you just do 3, then you finalize the lineup. This is our lineup. It's really a good lineup. Submitting it. Boom. Lineup submitted. Just like that. You could do it too. Okay. We'll take a couple super chats and then get back to the show. Joseph for real says, love Lynch speaking about his experience with being a coaching casualty. Be a shame if Niners were so dense. I hope a healthy CMC introduces primal flow to the team during OTAs. Body control and spatial awareness, Dad. Primal flow.
Have we talked about McCaffrey yet? Because I want to talk about him.
Let's talk about McCaffrey right now. He spoke first of all the players. First one out there. Spoke for 6 minutes and was asked if he has any physical restrictions following his torn PCL, which he suffered in November. And he said, no, he's 100% good to go. What do you think?
Okay, when he says no restrictions, he means the medical staff that he works with and the coaches have say, you're a regular player now, go out and do your thing. That's what it means.
Yes.
Iggy, correct me if I'm wrong. Last season, before the season, and after he came back mid-season, didn't he say both times he had no restrictions?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. First of all, I hope he has a good season. He's a wonderful player, and I don't want to see his career end abruptly. Having said that, I'm a little skeptical because twice he said he had no restrictions and twice he couldn't perform. We know that. He had to go to Germany, and the other one, he wasn't even hit, and he fell down, and that was the end of it for him. So when he says I have no restrictions, it really says nothing because no restrictions is not the same as saying I'm the player I used to be or even I'm a full-time player. And I think and he doesn't know either. It's not only that you and I don't know, he doesn't know, and he won't know until the first game of the season.
Yeah, and it's like, it's great that he's recovered from his PCL injury. But that's not really what I'm concerned about. It's the Achilles still. And it's essentially the Achilles still because he never ruptured one, but he had tendonitis. And it seemed like whenever he would try to get back up to the level that he was at in 2023, something would go awry. So he's been training this offseason. Sure, he's been working hard, but when he finally starts practicing every day in training camp and tries to ramp up for the actual season, can his body do it without having setbacks?
Right. And can his Achilles do it? You
Right.
know, it's not like a muscle that you can build it up. I'm sure. A good question for him. I don't know if he would answer it honestly. When he runs full speed, does he have pain in his Achilles?
Yeah. No, I don't think he would answer that honestly. I think he would think that as none of our business.
Right. That's what I would think too.
Yeah.
And I also think, and again, I mentioned here that a doctor told me that he thinks he fell down mid-season and ended his season because he's running differently. It could even be microscopically differently to ease the pain, perhaps in his Achilles, and it alters his whole game. So the thing is, he has a lot to prove to himself and to the team. It was very nice that he showed up today. It's very nice that he has no restrictions, but having no restrictions is not really relevant because he said it twice before.
That's true. Also, last year when he like this first popped up, he was at training camp and he practiced for 3-4 days, and then they shut him down and said, he's got I think they called it a calf injury at first. They didn't come right out and say bilateral Achilles tendonitis. It evolved. And he said, and I believe they said too, look, this is precautionary. There's no reason to push it. It's training camp. If there were a game next week, he'd be out there. And then week 1 comes along and he's, I think, listed as questionable for the game. And it's not until 90 minutes before game time that they rule him out. And then he doesn't play until week 10. So again, they'll say things. There's a timeline, there's an expectation, and then things change.
Yeah. Or then the real reality uh,
Sets
peaks
in.
it sets in. And
Yeah.
so I hope for the best for him, but I have a certain level of skepticism.
As do I. We asked John Lynch today about trading. I asked him, hey, there's a report. Adam Schefter said that you guys are looking to trade down. Is that true? And he goes, there was also a report that we were looking to trade up. And someone called me from one of those teams in the top 6 and said, why haven't you called me? And I guess Lynch said, well, I'm essentially not looking to trade up. He said most teams want to trade down. But since when most teams want to do one thing, that means none of them are able to usually accomplish it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a bunch of nothing, but maybe they do end up trading up, Dad. Do you think they should? Do you think they shouldn't? What do you think?
My gut feeling is no way to trade up unless, and you know this better than I do, they're 11. Is there a player before 11 that would make a significant difference for them this season?
I
Okay.
think the players that are going to go in 5 to 10 are similar to the players that are going to go 10 to 15.
Okay. Then my feeling is the second best choice would be to stay where they are. The first best choice would be to swap that pick and trade down for at least 2 players. My feeling is this is a team that only won 6 games. You can make every excuse you want. They need as many players in training camp as they can get because they have a lot of needs, Iggy. And Lynch, I believe, said today it's a very deep draft. There's a lot of good players. Then get more of them.
Yeah.
My first choice would be give up your pick and get 2 later picks or stay where you are, but definitely don't trade up.
Yeah, and let's go back to what you said earlier in the show. You said you think the Niners ultimately are going to cave and give Brock that 5 and end up paying him more than $50 million a year. I agree. And if that's the case, then they're going to need as many good players on rookie contracts as possible because they're not going to be able to afford to pay that much for anyone else. So the more draft picks you get, the better. I mean, you need cheap labor. as much as possible because you're spending like 20% of your salary cap on one player. Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Iggy. You see,
Yeah.
you're smarter than I hadn't thought of that.
Now, Lynch did say everyone's trying to trade down because it's not that strong of a draft at the top. One team that's interested in, well, reportedly calling around trying to trade up is the Broncos. Sean Payton, pick 20. That's 9 picks below where the Niners are. Do you think the Niners should try to work something out with Denver?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Why
20
not?
picks is, yeah, 9 picks isn't that much. Get an extra second round pick. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. If the draft is so good, yeah, I would say talk to Sean Payton.
All day, every day came as a question for you. Papa C, do you think the Niners should trade Brock Purdy?
No, I don't. I think right now he's the best quarterback for them. The only way I would trade him if it becomes really acrimonious and they can't make a deal, and he threatens to sit out, then I trade him. But currently, he's the best quarterback for them. And if they get good people around him, including CMC, they could be a very good team.
David Kindle Jr. says, love listening to you guys. The players have been stepping all over this team for a long time, and that's on the Yorks. We need new leadership, and it starts at the top. Well, you did ask Jed if he would ever consider firing himself.
And he refused.
Yeah.
God love him.
Yeah.
If I ever see him again, I'll have to say, let's be friends again.
Yeah. You buried the hatchet with Eddie DeBartolo, too.
I did with Eddie, yeah.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Warriors going into game 2 against the Houston Rockets in Houston tomorrow night. They won game 1 by 10. It was close at the end. They were up by 20. They gave it back. They won the game. Before the game, we were talking. Both of us didn't really expect the Warriors to win the series. It was a statement win. Do you think they're going to win the series now?
Okay. Let me first say this is a 49ers broadcast, but they're not playing football, and the Warriors are a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like you to see that Iggy and I can actually have opinions and know about other things. The Warriors are a great story. 1, because they're in the playoffs, but 2, they were dead. They were among the walking dead until Dunleavy, God love him, brought in Jimmy Butler. Iggy, this guy's a wonderful player.
Yeah.
I love the way he plays. Okay. I a few weeks ago, Houston, or as we'd say in Brooklyn, Houston, held Curry to 3 points. That was astonishing. It was absolutely astonishing that happened. And you knew it would never happen again. But what it showed me is that Houston is a pretty good outfit, right?
Yeah.
Better record than the Warriors, the 2nd seed, that they're a good outfit. The Warriors beat Houston on Houston's home court, held them to 34 points in the first half. All of that is phenomenally interesting and impressive. As you said, statement game.
Yeah.
But I've been around a long time, longer. I wish I were like 30 years younger. And what I learned, it's hard to draw a conclusion from the first game.
Mm.
Lots of things change. The Rockets coach is really good coach, Iggy.
Yeah.
So is Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is wonderful, but the Rockets coach is a really good coach. I'm sure he's been thinking about this a lot. I'm not saying the Warriors won't win this series. I think they have a chance because they have 2 superstars, and these other guys, Houston doesn't. They have that Şengün guy, Iggy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good player, but he's not a superstar like Butler or Curry, who could be one of the greatest players who ever lived. So that the Warriors have a great chance to win this. But Iggy, a lot of funny things happen in best of series 7 series, and I would be foolhardy to guarantee that the Warriors are going to win this. What do you think?
That's fair because both teams have to make adjustments, and like even though the Rockets lost that game and it was devastating, they lost home field advantage. Like you can look at the box score and see some potential. Like, for example, they have Steven Adams. We remember Steven Adams. He was a starting center for the Thunder back when the Warriors used to play them in the 10 years ago. Now he's the backup center for this team. And the Warriors are just a small team. They don't really have a center. They have Quentin Post, who's a rookie who shoots threes, and he's tall, but he's not physical. And then Steven Adams comes in, who's like Andrew Bogut or something, or Zaza Pachulia, and he gets 12 rebounds in 20 minutes. If I were the coach of that team, I'd be thinking, I need to get him on the court a little bit more, maybe 25, maybe 30 minutes, because the Warriors have no answer for him. And the biggest advantage the Rockets had was rebounding.
Yeah, they're not a particularly good shooting team. Certainly, they don't shoot threes well, and they don't even shoot free throws well.
No.
But they get a lot of offensive rebounds.
They're good at throwing the ball off the rim and then rebounding it.
Right. They're very limited. But having said that, they're effective, and they're a good defensive team. The Warriors didn't score a lot against them.
No.
They take you away from what you want to do. So my gut feeling and my hope is that the Warriors win the series, because I'd like this to go on. It's a lot of fun. I would not bet the mortgage on it. I think there are going to be so many twists and turns in this series that we'll forget the first game along the way.
And the longer the series goes, the more it favors the Rockets because they're so much younger. And even in game one, for the Warriors to pull out that win, it required some of the most acrobatic shots of Steph Curry's career. I mean, he had to have a great game. Butler had to have a great game. What if only one of them has a great game? What if neither of them have a great game? I mean, it seemed like the Warriors had to play their absolute best. And then freaking Moses Moody had to hit a really clutch three down the stretch. Yeah, it was a closer game than it seemed.
Yeah, and what you're saying is that Butler and Curry need to be heroes every game to win 4. Need to be heroes. It's hard. It's hard to do that. Iggy, I like Moses Moody. I think he's a very good player, and he's really growing on me. I also like his demeanor. He's Joe Montana in that sense. Nothing registers on his face. He just goes to work. I love it.
Yeah.
But Iggy, what I don't get is Kuminga. I'm not questioning why they're not playing him. And again, I'm not there. I can't ask Steve Kerr about it, nor do I think he'd give an honest answer. But a lot of people, including our friend Zeus, who these people don't know, tell us that Kuminga is great and he's the future of the team. I've heard this a lot. All of a sudden, he can't get off the bench. I'm saying I don't actually understand. I'm not saying Kerr is wrong. I just don't understand it. Do you understand it?
I think a little bit. My best guess is that he was playing a lot before Butler was on the team. Yeah. And it was working because you play with Steph Curry, it tends to work. But now Butler's on the team. Butler doesn't shoot threes. Kuminga doesn't really shoot threes. And I think that Kerr hasn't found a way to sort of play them together or have them in a rotation. Because if you noticed, Butler played like 42 minutes in this game. In the playoffs, he's going to not come off the court. He's in phenomenal shape. So I think maybe Kerr just felt, I can't figure this out. And maybe in addition, something behind the scenes happened where Kuminga, who's like 22 and hasn't proven anything, said something to Steve Kerr, who has like 9 championship rings. And maybe Kerr said, well, we'll talk again in 2 weeks when you're off timeout. I have no idea I feel like something happened behind closed. It feels like there's more than what they're saying.
Iggy, do you think he'll be on the team next season?
No. But I do think that they're going to need him at some point in these playoffs.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they can get through the whole thing and win a championship without him playing at all. Maybe I'm wrong, but this team isn't rebounding at all. They might need another guy who can at least get a board.
Iggy, you say he's 22 years old?
I think he's 22. They drafted him when he was 19. I'm looking it up. Kuminga, age 22.
Okay. Was he a starter at one point this season?
Let me look that up.
Because I didn't watch him during the regular season.
Let me see. This year, he started 10 games this year. Okay. So not really. And he missed a lot of games. He was hurt.
Okay. But he was a player. He played.
Yeah, he averaged 15 points a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was 22, I was emotional, I was immature.
Mhm.
I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. I don't know this kid. I assume he's only 22. I'm afraid that Kerr may have lost him, that he may have trouble believing in Kerr and playing for him again, that he may
Yep.
be crushed on the Warriors and he may need to go elsewhere to be uncrushed. Again, I've never met him, so I don't know what he's like. If it were me, I'd be under the seats on the bench vomiting. I'd be so upset.
Let me ask you a question about Curry and his like legacy. It's early on. They could lose the rest of these games against the Rockets, but um he was so good in game 1. He's 37 years old, but he still looks as good as he ever was. He was the best player on Team USA like last year. Uh what do you think this potential run could do for his legacy? And would you consider him a greater player all time than LeBron James?
Okay, I think his legacy is already set, and I want to come back to his legacy. Absolutely a better player than LeBron James, more skillful.
Mhm.
Uh, LeBron James on the court really needs to have the ball a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Curry doesn't.
Mhm.
He's a very unselfish player.
Yeah.
Iggy, I want to say for me, the Titans of I'm going to call it San Francisco sports now.
Mhm.
San Francisco, that wonderful city across the bay. I think there are three. The Titans: Joe Montana,
Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
Now there are others that were great, but these are. I mean, to be in a
Top of the top.
company with Joe Montana and Willie Mays,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I say you can't deny Stephen Curry.
No.
No,
No. Yeah, he
and
was the defining basketball player of his era, not LeBron James, in my opinion. Even though the media tried to make it LeBron James, it was much more enjoyable to watch Stephen Curry every night of his career than LeBron.
Stephen Curry didn't have a TV special to tell the world what his next team was going to be.
No.
What I always felt about Curry. Now, remember, I haven't done it in a while, but I mean, I interviewed him many times, never one on one, Iggy, but in a group. And what I felt about him was that he was normal.
Mhm.
He's a superstar's superstar. He
Mhm.
never had that demeanor. He always was available. He never had a mood. And if someone asked a stupid question, and a lot of us did, he never made fun the way Popovich would if and demean you. He never did things like that. He took the question for what it was worth and tried to answer it. He's one of the nicest superstars. Now, again, I don't know what he's like in his house. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to how he presented to the media. But he was a dream, is a dream.
Also, like LeBron left 3 teams because they were affecting his legacy. The Cavs the first time, the Heat the second time, the Cavs the third time. They just weren't good enough. They weren't putting the right team around him. It wasn't his fault that he wasn't winning championships. It was the team, and they were holding him back, and he had to leave and put together the team himself on the next. Curry never did that. So LeBron got drafted by the Cavs. Curry got drafted by the freaking Warriors. I mean, just as bad of a franchise as the Cavs were at that time, and he stayed here the whole time. And even like in his mid 30s, all of a sudden, Joe Lacob lost his mind and was trying to build a team with Joe White, with what's that guy's name? James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga and all these young players. He didn't complain. He didn't say, I want out. I want to go play for the Los Angeles Lakers. He just wrote it out, and now they're contenders again.
Right. And to the best of my knowledge as an outsider now, Curry is someone that fans can be proud of. One, because he's one of the greatest players who ever lived, and because he is apparently a really decent guy. What a combo.
Yeah. To me,
What a
he's the best offensive player of all time. I never saw Wilt Chamberlain play, but just he can score inside. He's the greatest shooter. He's an incredible passer. He can play with the ball. He can play without the ball. Just the perfect offensive player.
Iggy, I want to say something and compare him to James Harden,
Mhm.
who you would agree is an excellent player.
Excellent.
Okay. They were playing last night. Who were they playing? I forget. It was
Denver?
Denver. They were playing Denver. So here's what I noticed about Harden.
Yeah.
Again, he's a great player. If he brings the ball up the court and runs the offense, he's very much involved.
Yep.
Also, he's a great shooter, and he drives and gets fouled.
And he's a good passer.
He's a very effective passer.
Mhm.
But Iggy, if he is not bringing the ball up,
He just stands there.
he stands there.
He just
I
stands there.
mean, Curry, if he doesn't have the ball, he's constant motion because he wants to free himself up for a shot or to take the pressure somewhere so else could get a shot. The other guy, Harden, he's standing there like a guy, you know what he looks like? He's waiting for a bus. He could be having a cup of coffee in the morning and reading the paper. He's standing out there, and these other four guys are playing offense. I can't put him anywhere near Curry because of that kind of behavior.
To me, LeBron's similar. I mean, he might do more stuff, but really when he doesn't have the ball, what are you doing? And with Harden, it always seemed like he wasn't in quite the best shape, and he maybe needed to conserve some energy on like non-Harden possessions, whereas Curry's in the most incredible shape of any basketball player I've ever seen. Like, I wonder how many miles he runs per game, and if any other player in the league runs more. Maybe now that he's 37, there are, but back when he was younger, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So not only is he gifted, but he's effort. He's A+ for effort, right?
He's effort and effortless at the same time.
I love it. See, that's how smart UCLA.
See, that's how it is. Well, we'll see if they win tomorrow night. We're also watching the Giants, but it's early. It's too much. It's too soon to really delve into them, but we're watching.
We're watching. In fact, they're playing tonight.
Playing tonight. We'll be watching. Yeah. That's how much we're watching. Thanks for watching us, everyone. Be back next week. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Love you, Iggy. Okay, take